everyone, it's me, Krylios, Team Racing Productions MC and producer. And joining me today is the Mayor of the District of Columbia, Muriel Bowser. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here, Mayor. How are you?
I'm fantastic. And you?
I am doing well. It is great to talk to you. It's a lovely day outside. Spring is in the air. Summer is around the corner, and we're in election season.
Aren't we though?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. I want to kick this off for anyone who's watching. They might not be from DC, they're from all around the world. So what we love to have our guests do is to introduce themselves and give our audience a little bit about your background and experience.
Well, for sure. So I am Muriel Bowser. I'm the mayor of the best city in the world, Washington, D.C. And Washington, D.C. is my hometown. I'm the mom to Miranda, who is 4 years old. My parents are also DC residents. We're a multi-generational family, and they live in North Michigan Park in Ward 5 in Washington, DC. I have been in local government for 25 years. I have been mayor for almost 8 years. I was a council member for almost 8 years, and I worked in a nearby local jurisdiction for 10 years. My focus has always been on how to make communities better, one neighborhood at a time, and to ensure that more people in Washington, D.C. can participate in the growing prosperity of Washington, D.C.
Certainly. Thank you so much for that, Mayor. Now, as you pointed out, you've been mayor for almost 8 years, and that's literally when I moved to DC to go to Howard. So the moment I got to Howard, I saw Mayor Bowser up all over the place, and then you won the election. So I've only experienced DC with you as mayor. So tell me this, why is it that you are ready to run for re-election and continue serving the people of the District of Columbia as mayor, as leader for this city?
Well, that's a good question. And I wanted, even before I launched my campaign, to know that I had the energy, the ideas, and the vision, and the team to keep pushing for another 4 years, because the work is there to be done. We know that, thank you for posting that. We know that the job of being mayor has been changed by this pandemic. Shut down for 2 years, having to catch up our economy, having to bring back jobs, having to make sure children have what they need is so important. And we also know that the pandemic hit our community unevenly. Some people, quite frankly, they didn't experience lost income, lost jobs. Others have been completely wiped out by it. So it's going to take a mayor with experience and skill to get the job done. And so I think now more than ever, we need a mayor that is a proven leader.
Certainly. Well, let me know something, Mayor. What is one of your favorite things about the District of Columbia, about living here, about being a part of this city?
Love how richly diverse we are. It's also a point of a lot of anxiety, quite frankly, in Washington. When I was born in DC, we were probably close to 80% African American. I was born in the 70s. And we saw in the 70s and 80s a real exodus of African Americans from DC, especially the African American middle class. And sometimes people, I was in a debate last night where my opponents want people to believe that DC became an expensive city when I became mayor, or that African Americans started moving out when I became mayor, when in fact we have slowed down the pace of exodus during our term because we built so many affordable housing units. A lot of my family, my aunts and uncles who got good jobs in the 70s and 80s, even though we're a DC family, they moved out to the suburbs, and a lot of people fall into that category. So I have made it a tenure of my service to focus on how we build more affordable housing.
Certainly, certainly. That's so important. I'm glad you brought that up because I do want to know, the top three issues that you feel like you want to tackle head on, if reelected. Those, top three things you want to go after first that have really become maybe issues or challenges in the city right now.
I mean, the first one is public safety.
Mhm.
And we've seen a couple of years where we've had unsteady investment in public safety. And so I want to make sure we get that back on track, have the police officers that we need, but also have the violence interruption services and the opportunity services so that people are making good choices all over our city. I would say that the second issue is tent encampments in our city. We have done an incredible job working with community partners to drive down chronic homelessness and family homelessness in the city. But what we saw with very strict COVID protocols in our homeless shelters is more people decided to stay on the street in tents. And we know in a city as prosperous as ours that we can connect people with shelter and housing, and dealing with the very complicated issue of these encampments is a huge issue for us. I think the third category is, I'm gonna throw a few things into that category. Schools and catching our kids back up after COVID, bringing back our downtowns and our commercial corridors, and focusing on good paying infrastructure and high demand jobs.
I see. I see. Very, very important. Very, very important. All right. Tell me this. So you've been mayor now for almost 8 years, as you've said, and so many things have changed within those 8 years. What is something that you know now, or something that you've learned, during your tenure that is something you wish you had known at the start in 2014?
Ooh, that's a good question. It's always, every day is different in the job of being mayor. I think that one thing that is steady is you have to attract great people to work for you. And every day of being mayor, I'm always talking to people from all backgrounds and beliefs, all ages, and I'm talking to them about their ideas. I would spend even more time doing that because I always am recruiting. I'm always recruiting top talent. I'm always recruiting businesses to move here and hire DC residents. I'm even always recruiting residents to live here and selling them on how great DC is.
Yes, certainly, certainly. I love that. Well, Mayor, tell me this. We have a few more people running this time against you. Why are you the best choice for DC residents come this election day?
As I've already said, I think it's important to have a proven leader because we're at a real precious point in the city's history. The job is different, and our comeback is going to require somebody who knows how to deploy billions of dollars, someone who has had experience going up against a hostile Congress and a hostile president and winning for the people of the District of Columbia. That's going to be important, but also how we continue to make DC on a national stage. And one thing that I'm very proud of my tenure is I took us from, people weren't talking about DC, statehood had kind of languished as the issue for discussion. We raised the profile. I go around the world talking about the district. I go to Congress and to the White House promoting our interests. And I dare say I've done a good job at doing exactly that. And so I was always taught that the best predictor of, future behavior or future activity is what you've been doing. And so while I know everybody running in the race, I've worked with most of them. I just don't see what in their history that would suggest that they're going to have big ideas and the know-how to get the city over this hump of COVID.
Certainly. Thank you for that. Now, yesterday, the Board of Elections, of course, just sent out the first ballots for everyone. So at this moment, I do want to take a moment to talk about the election deadlines that are coming up and just the importance of voting. So when does voting begin here in DC, Mayor?
Well, as you know, the ballots are going out now, and everyone is going to get one. You don't have to ask, you don't have to have an excuse. Everyone is going to have a ballot mailed to them for the Democratic primary. The Board of Elections will open drop boxes for those ballots beginning on May 27th. And you may also send your ballot through the United States Postal Service. So really, Election Day starts as soon as you get your ballot.
There
you can mail it in. There will also be in-person voting, of course. You have those locations you can connect at the Board of Elections website. They're different than what people are used to because we don't have all 144 precincts. But there will be early vote centers and day of election centers. But I'm encouraging all of my supporters to use their mailed ballot and drop it off at a drop box.
Certainly. And we want to remind our viewers that May 31st is the deadline to update your voter registration status. So if you want to check your voter registration status, pledge to vote, and register to vote, you can go to headcount.org. Once again, that is headcount.org to check your voter registration status, pledge to vote, and register to vote. Now, of course, before I let our mayor go, Mayor, how can people find out more about you, find out more about your campaign, follow you, keep up with what you're doing, and of course, support and donate if they please?
Well, I appreciate that. I'm at murielbowser.com. You can find out more about my bio and positions. You can also just look at 8 years of my record and know what we've been able to accomplish for the people of the District of Columbia. I'm proud to have the most contributors and the most DC contributors in the DC Fair Elections program. And I'm grateful for that because we've raised $3.7 million so that we can have our campaign across all 8 wards. What you won't see in our campaign, we're not being led around town by any special interest group. We are working for the people to deliver the best services and the most opportunity to DC residents across all 8 wards. So please chip in. It could be $10, it could be $25, it could be $200. That's the max. Only from people, no businesses, LLCs, or corporations. And the Fair Elections program will match you 5 to 1. So your $200 contribution becomes $1,200. So we encourage everybody to be big donors in the Bowser campaign.
Certainly. And we will have Mayor Bowser's website in the description below. So viewers, you can go ahead and check that out right now. Mayor Bowser, thank you so much for joining me today. It has been such a pleasure getting to chat with you, getting to do this, and I wish you best of luck on your campaign.
Thank you. Have a great one. Bye-bye.
You too. If you're watching, please follow Team Racine Productions at Team Racine on all forms of social media. Check out our YouTube channel where we have our Elections 2022 playlist, where we've interviewed every single person running in the District of Columbia. And while you're there, like, share, comment, and subscribe. But most of all, thank you for watching. Bye, everyone.